Hellverine, issue number 1 from Marvel Comics. This is spinning off of the Ghost Rider versus Hellverine, or is it Hellverine versus Ghost Rider? One of those. It's a mini-series that I covered a while back. You can find that on this channel if you want to look for it. Basic gist is that there was this demon named Bagra-ghul that was a sculpture for Mephisto, and it ends up taking over the body of this little boy, and then eventually it takes over Wolverine, and then that was like its own little mini-series, and then there was the Ghost Rider versus Hellverine, where it eventually takes over the dead body of Logan's son, Daken. And because it was once possessed by Wolverine, it now targets evil instead of going after good people. So yeah, basically Daken is now alive, kind of. He's in the world between life and death because he's like a reanimated corpse. The only reason why he's alive is because Bagra-ghul is within him. So if it wasn't for Bagra-ghul, Daken would be dead. Daken basically lives his life like Johnny Blaze did in the Ghost Rider series that came out last year, where he basically just goes from town to town, passing out, getting taken over, and that's just kind of what he does now. And we get like his little backstory where his mom was pregnant with him, and he was killed by Romulus, and then he was taken in by another family, and they called him Daken, and they mistreated him, and then eventually he killed one of the bullies, and then he killed his adopted mom, who despised him, and then he ended up killing her child. Basically just like a life of death. And eventually he fought Wolverine, and Wolverine killed him. And yeah, I will say that the artwork is not the greatest, especially for the fight scenes. Like this Wolverine, it just looks weird. Especially this panel with Wolverine like leaping, falling to the side. I don't know what exactly is going on here. He can sense evil. Like he's in this gas station, and all of a sudden he senses that this guy is going to try to kill the clerk. And I don't think you really need to be able to sense it when the guy pulls out a knife and goes to attack him, but Daken burns him alive. There's another moment where he's driving and he sees this giant truck, and inside are a bunch of kidnapped victims. And so he destroys the truck and lets them free. And then we just get the whole story, which I've already told you about Bagra-ghul. Eventually, Daken's just chilling out in the woods, and he sees this girl, and it turns out that she's dead. She was drowned, and not only was she drowned, but a bunch of other people were drowned. And basically, there's this house nearby, and so the guy has been kidnapping people and drowning them for whatever reason, never really explained. But he's evil, so Daken turns into Hellverine and kills him, turns him into art. And I think that's like the cool gimmick for the Bagra-ghul. Bagra-ghul, basically, he was like a sculpture in hell from Mephisto. What he would do is when he ended up taking possession of a little boy on Earth, he would kill people, and then he would use their corpse and create art. He would create sculptures out of their corpse, out of their gore and bones and stuff. And I was like, all right, that's pretty badass. Like, I love that idea. I've talked about this before in other videos that dealt with Bagra-ghul, but that's a really cool gimmick. But obviously, Daken doesn't want to be doing this. He already feels like he never should have been born. It's like his entire life was kind of like no one wanted him really, and it was just nothing but constant pain and misery. And now that he's a host for Bagra-ghul, he's again like just reanimated corpse. He shouldn't be alive. He should be dead. And now when he is alive, he's spending all his time brutally murdering people and then making art out of their corpses. And yeah, the people he kills are evil, but still, that's kind of a terrible life to just go around murdering people and making art out of their bodies. Then he's like, well, there's only one person that can help me. That'll be Doctor Strange. So he goes to Doctor Strange, who doesn't really look like Doctor Strange. I don't know what this is. But yeah, Doctor Strange is like, I'm no longer the Sorcerer Supreme, but I'll see what I can do. I don't keep up with current Marvel stuff, so I mean, I heard that he's no longer the Sorcerer Supreme. But are they basically copying the movies where they made the other guy the Sorcerer Supreme, which I think is stupid? Doctor Strange should be the Sorcerer Supreme. That's kind of like his whole shtick. It'd be like having Johnny Blaze and not having him be Ghost Rider, which I know they've done before, and it was dumb. It would be like having Peter Parker and he's not Spider-Man. Like, I don't know. I hate like giving these, like, I don't see them as mantles. So I don't like seeing other characters take over legacy characters' gimmicks. To me, it's just dumb, but whatever. I'm not going to like complain too much about this because I don't know the story behind it. Maybe there's like a really cool story that goes along with this. But yeah, he's no longer Sorcerer Supreme. but he's going to help anyways. I do find it funny that so this series is being written by Benjamin Percy, who has done all the Ghost Rider stuff. I've talked about plenty of his issues because I've covered every Ghost Rider thing that he's done so far in the past year or two. I've really enjoyed them. I do think he has some faults, mostly when it comes to endings, but other than that, like, I think he's a really good writer. He seems to have a fascination with Doctor Strange. Like, it seems like he really wants to do a Doctor Strange series, because Doctor Strange always seems to make an appearance in his series in some way. So yeah, Doctor Strange is like, can you show me about this artwork kind of stuff? Like, take me to one of these places, or could you build another one? And of course, that pisses Daken off, because Daken's like, you do know how I build them, right? Like, I kill people. So you're asking me to kill someone so I can build you an artwork so you can look at it. And the reason why Doctor Strange wants to look at it is because he's like, there's got to be a reason for the sculptures. Like, like these demons, they're not just doing a sculpture for the sake of art. Like, there's got to be like a message or something within the sculptures itself. And I want to see what it is, what it could mean. And so Daken basically uses a telepathic link to show him. So we see like the murdered guy at the gas station and the artwork he made out of him, which I think looks cool. This one doesn't look as great. It looks kind of weak compared to the gas station one. But the truckers that were kidnapping people. But yeah, of course, Doctor Strange like shoots them back. And he basically explains that, yeah, these artworks, there's something to it. Another thing is that the Demon Bagra-ghul, he's not turning over a new leaf. Like, you think he is after bonding with Logan, but that's not the case. Like, Bagra-ghul is still very much a citizen of Hell and a servant of Mephisto. Daken is like, that can't be because everyone I've killed is evil. Doctor Strange is like, well, yeah. If you want to grow a garden, you make sure the soil is rich with the right nutrients. And evil is a slippery slope, one that's usually rooted in pain, fear, and hate. Qualities you specialize in. Yeah, he basically says that Mephisto has a plan for Bagra-ghul and for you, and that plan's already in motion. If you don't put a stop to it, then I'm going to have to stop you myself. But if you do want to stop it, go here. And he opens up a portal to the North Pole. He's like, this is your first step in your journey. You got to go to the place where the demon summoned you from your grave, because something foul has taken root there. I'm like, is he going to like fight Santa or something? What the hell is he doing in the North Pole for? But yeah, that's basically Hellverine. It's Daken going around killing evil, and then Doctor Strange telling him, yeah, even though you're killing evil, there's something there. There's something you got to be worried about, because that demon, he's still very much a servant of Mephisto. And Mephisto, like anything coming from Mephisto is never good. So you may think that you're killing evil now, but there's a reason why you're doing that. And it's a reason Mephisto wants you to do that. And yeah, you got to be watching out for that. So I think that's kind of cool. As for the issue itself, you know what? I liked it more than I thought I would. Hellverine, it just seems kind of like a stupid gimmick. Like, it's like, oh, it's Ghost Rider mixed with Wolverine. All right, whatever. And Daken's a character I never really gave a crap about. To be fair, I haven't read much with Daken, but I don't care for the character at all. Like, he's never interested in me in any way. But this did a better job of, I don't want to say me liking the character, but at least sympathizing with him a little bit more. Like, this is still a character I don't really care for. Like, here's my thing. When it comes to Ghost Rider, keep it a Johnny Blaze. I guess if you want to give it a Danny Ketch too, fine. But even then, I wish it would have just been a Johnny Blaze thing. Yeah, for something that's like a gimmick character, I think this is fine. As someone who doesn't know too much about Daken, like, I know his basic gist. Like, you know, his dad kind of like abandoned him to his mom. His mom was murdered, and he has a lot of hate within him, hate to the point where he tried to kill his dad, and Wolverine ends up killing him in the end. Like, I get all of that, but that's like the basic gist of his story that I know. So for like people who have no idea who this character really is, this issue does a pretty good job of like catching you up, especially like for someone, if you haven't read the Ghost Rider, I think it was like Ghost Rider versus Wolverine was the first miniseries with Bagra-ghul. It started off like it had one issue where it was its own thing, and then it had an issue in the Ghost Rider, and then it had an issue in Wolverine, and then it had its own issue again to like conclude it. And then there was, I think, Ghost Rider versus Hellverine, or Hellverine versus Ghost Rider, or something. I forget the names of it, but there was another miniseries with Ghost Rider, Wolverine, and Daken and Bagra-ghul. If you haven't like read those, which I have, and I've covered them on this channel, as I said before. But if you haven't, this issue does a good job of like catching you up. So you're not going to be lost. Like it tells you everything that kind of happens, and it does it in a way that's like very quick and to the point. It's not dragging things out, which I think a lot of other issues can learn from. So I think that's good. Artwork, I'm not the biggest fan of it. Like at some points, the artwork is not that bad. It's pretty decent. And then at other times, it just looks really off. Mostly when it comes to like action poses. Like the action poses just look very, very weird. And sometimes some of the character faces look a little bit off. Like it almost feels like you're trying to maybe copy from a photograph, but not really. Like there's just like this weird uncanny valley look to it. It's like you're trying to be photorealistic, but you're not photorealistic. So something about it just looks off. At which point I'm like, just have your own style, man. Like just comics don't need to be photorealistic or anything like that. Do your own style. So yeah, the artwork, again, like I said, it's very like hit or miss for certain panels. Like some panels, it looks pretty good. And other panels, it's just something about it seems off. Like just a very uncanny valley kind of feel to it that makes me just like, eh. So all in all, I'd give this, I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. I thought it was pretty good. Not great or anything like that, but I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. It's not like the greatest Ghost Rider thing I've ever read, not even close. But I found more enjoyment out of this than I have with the current Spirit of Vengeance run, which hasn't been all that great. So yeah, I thought this was pretty good. So 7 out of 10. So there you go. There's Hellverine issue number 1. Hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Later. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, I still want to thank you for watching it this far, and I hope the next one is more to your liking. With that said, thank you once again, and I hope you guys and gals have a good one. Later.